This is the consequences when we chose the wrong direction. Oh my God. Yes. It is what it is. Make America great. Yeah, low prices.
This is breaking news. Texas farmers are sounding the alarm on this tariff war. And in more breaking news, nobody cares. Yeah, I don't know if it's just me or maybe it's some of you too, but as far as farmers sounding the alarm, I don't care. I have to admit, I don't care at all, because the last time Donald Trump was president, 100,000 farmers across the country lost their farms. Yeah. So overwhelmingly, farmers voted for this man again, knowing full well of his history the last time he was president. So from me to you, farmers, I don't care. I don't care how bad things get for you. I don't care if you lose your farm. I don't care if I don't care. At least I don't care to hear about it. I really don't. Because this is exactly what you voted for. And you're going to get what you voted for. You're going to get 4 more years of Donald Trump not giving a damn about farmers whatsoever. So enjoy.
That's fine. We're just going to burn the fucking crops. Fuck it. Let everybody starve.
Jerry Spencer turned to unemployed Americans, but says after 2 weeks, most couldn't cope.
The farmer says, start over here and end over here. And that was the extent of their instructions. With the American workers, they all had to be taught all this and separate. And in addition to the fact that their bodies just were not built for it.
Farms in deep red Texas are shut down, and Donald Trump is the reason. Now, as you know, Donald Trump has shifted ICE from focusing on criminal immigrants to going after easier targets such as job sites to pump his numbers up. But farms are hurting because of this, as many of their workers are either being deported or not showing up for fear of being caught up in these raids. And because of this, they're essentially shut down and no work can be done. Just take a listen to one farmer.
3 weeks, it started to slow, but this last week or so has been huge. That's when it's like 0 people wanting to come out. And
yeah, 0 people. 0 people going to work the farms. And while, yes, these farmers are in the find out phase, we're all going to be in it, because they're talking that our food supply is going to be shut down or have major interruptions. And it's not just Texas, it's California and Washington. We are finding out that, yes, immigrants do help the American economy. Immigrants are part of the American fabric. We just didn't realize it till it was too late.
Hey guys, welcome back to Echo Room Vibes, where we sip tea brewed from the consequences of political decisions and serve it with a side of, did y'all not see this coming? Before we jump in, quick shout out to the brilliant originators and stitchers behind today's video breakdown. You spoke the truth, you lit the match, and now we are just watching it burn down the fields, literally. All right, Texas farmers are crying for help, and America is looking around like, you lost the number for customer service when you tore up the user manual on reality. So let's dig in.
So Texas farmers are losing their farm, and because their workforce, which consists of illegal immigrants, aren't working. I don't care. I don't care, and majority of us with hearts and brains and knew what this man was going to do and what it was going to cost people, including you Texas farmers. Yet we don't care. You hated people so much, even your own workforce, so much that you voted for this man and went against your own self-interest. And I don't feel sorry for people who continuously do that. And that is majority of us is at the bottom. Majority of us are at the bottom. We are not the 1%. We are not the billionaire class. We are the working poor. All of us basically are the working poor. And you voted against your own self-interest because of your hate. And you thought that, what, black people was going to come and work at these farms? No, shove that idea up your ass. And I'm being very serious. And I'm saying that in the nicest way as possible, as I can. It's not going to happen. You voted against your own workforce. Immigrants are the backbone of this United States of America. And you allowed this man to do all of this. You voted for this. So you guys can lose your farms, lose your equipment, lose everything, especially your land. So these billionaires can come up and buy your land for pennies on the fucking dollar. This is what you get for voting for your hate. Your ignorance couldn't allow you to vote for someone amply qualified for the job. And now you got a set of people that is in this administration that is DEI hires, not qualified at all in any way for the jobs they are placed in. And it's costing you everything. Have the day you voted for.
It's Joe from Georgia. So this is news out of Texas. But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States. And our government is not listening. Overnight, multiple farms in the state of Texas completely shut down. And the reason for this shutdown was because they have lost almost 100% of their workforce. Now, we know this is the result of the immigration raids and stricter enforcement, but the ripple effect is going to be felt all the way across this country. Now, you've got crops that are rotting in the fields. You have livestock that is not being attended to at all. And that takes a lot of personnel. And we're talking, so now we're getting every area of food to include meat. And the communities that surround these farms, those businesses and those people who depend on the income from these farms, it's creating disasters for small communities in Texas. Now, this is not stopping at Texas farms. This is going to end up all the way across America, especially in the breadbasket, the middle of the nation, because they have tons of immigrant help. But folks, the alarm bells are ringing. Your food on your plate is being affected. So you got to think about it. It won't be soon.
So Texas farms don't have no workers? I like salad, y'all. I mean, what we gonna do? I'm not going out there. Y'all should have left them folks alone. Now look at us. We already overweight, out of shape, high blood pressure. Now we ain't got no vegetables. I am just waiting on MAGA to report to the fields. It's your turn.
Texas farms just lost 100% of their workers overnight. Crops are rotting in the field, livestock is dying, immigration raids are collapsing American agriculture. Americans are about to learn what the actual cost of food really is. And agriculture is the economic foundation for most of these rural Texas towns, so unless these workers are undisappeared immediately, these towns are going to collapse. The cultural reality is the security versus self-direction cultural conflict, and Americans are security obsessed, demanding immediate border controls and mass deportations without considering the consequences. And now they will pay the price, literally in the form of higher food prices. America has got to get back to its foundation of self-directed culture, in which states, localities, and individuals make their own decisions rather than being dictated by the federal government. Because the economic reality is that undocumented workers make up 50 to 70% of U.S. agricultural labor, because Americans won't do farm work, and even if they were willing to, farmers can't pay American wages and stay profitable. And we've seen this before. Operation Wetback in 1954, some mass deportations, and an agricultural crisis. The Barro Serra program, which ended in 1964, resulted in decades of farm labor shortages. Every immigration crackdown created high food prices because farms had no workers. So what's next? More farms shutting down, ever-increasing food prices, And if Republicans don't reverse this, at a certain point, the U.S. is going to have to import food to feed its own people. Rural Texas voted for Trump. And Texas, you will reap what you sow. Join us for more economic political analysis at culturalperspective.com.
Welcome back to the video, folks. Now, if you have been following the trends, you already know America is deep in a labor crisis that certain folks literally voted for. This week, Texas farmers are on camera with full-throated panic. Crops are dying, equipment is idle, and the workforce gone. Why? Because the undocumented labor force they relied on has been deported, driven out, or terrified into silence. And instead of taking responsibility, some of these folks are looking around like it's a mystery. But let's be honest, it is not a mystery, it's math. You can't subtract people and expect the work to magically get done. Let's be very clear. These farms were functioning on the backs of immigrant labor, many undocumented, many living in the shadows. And rather than push for a humane policy or a path to legalization, a huge chunk of the Texas agricultural community supported hardline immigration crackdowns. So now, surprise, the same folks who said, "Build the world," are standing next to literal piles of rotten onions like, but who's gonna harvest these? You fired your own workforce via policy. You voted them out of the fields. You applauded when they were deported. You cheered as they fled the state. And now you are shocked? Baby, this is what that cause and effect diagram in school was for. This isn't even satire. This is sociology. You had a workforce. It worked. It wasn't perfect, but it functioned. And because of performative hate, because owning the lips felt better than feeding your own family, you voted for candidates who gutted your own livelihood. You didn't lose your farms because of some unforeseeable force of nature. You lost them because you were more loyal to bigotry than to business. You thought black folks were gonna fill those jobs. You thought college-educated MAGA voters were going to throw on Carharttis and pick produce in 105-degree heat? Be serious. And now, here's the kicker. As you lose your farms, who is buying them up? Not the neighbors. Not the local co-op. Billionaires. Corporate farmland ownership is exploding. The land your family worked for generations, it's getting sold off for pennies on the dollar because you prioritize hate over help. You voted for the people who weaponized the labor system when you handed them your deed when the harvest failed. This is textbook late-stage capitalism with a MAGA twist. You do the damage, they get the assets. And just to make this whole thing more dystopian, let's talk about the fallback plan. When the immigrant workers vanished, some lawmakers said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll just let 14-year-olds work late into the night in the fields." Man, is this Little House on the Prairie or the Hunger Games? The same party that calls itself pro-family is now fine with children working in heat-stroke conditions because adults aren't allowed to. You cannot make this up. This isn't a labor solution, it's a labor confession. You dismantle a functioning workforce without thinking it through. So, what are we really seeing here? This is the inevitable result of policy driven by resentment instead of result. Hate is not a business model. When you demonize the very people who make your economy run, don't be surprised when it collapses under its own contradictions. And for the record, it's not that we don't have empathy. It's that accountability feels like cruelty when you have never had to face the consequences of your own votes. So, to all the farmers now begging for help, we do hope your fields recover. But maybe next time, plant seeds in policy before planting them in soil. To the rest of us watching from the margins, this is your reminder that elections have consequences, not just headlines. Policy isn't abstract. It touches your table, your paycheck, and yes, your dinner. If you are picking leaders who promise pain, don't act surprised when it hurts you too. Thanks for watching Echo Room Vibes. Drop your thoughts in the comments civilly. Like, subscribe, and share if you want more truth with a side of spice. And to the Texas farmers, have the harvest you voted for. From Echo Room Vibes, peace out.